Holy City Center Radio, it is episode 188, and I am your host, Christian Sanger. Today is Monday, October 30th, 2023. Happy early Halloween. Yes, one day away, but this is the last podcast before the actual holiday, so hope you have been enjoying the spooky season, as everyone says, however you choose to do so. I know a lot of folks were out this weekend dressed up. I saw it all over social media. There were some Halloween parties, costume parties going on all around town. And saw a nice mix of some really creative costumes and, some lazy ones too. No offense. I've pulled a few lazy costumes in my day. I get it. But I hope you all had fun and stay safe out there. If you have any little ones doing any trick-or-treating, I hope they have a blast. They get tons of candy and goodies, and everyone stays safe out there. As you always should, of course, but specifically on a day like Halloween, if you're driving around town, just be careful, regardless if it's night or still daylight out. Children are going to be walking around, of course, trick-or-treating, so just be careful out there. We all just want to make sure everybody has a safe and happy Halloween celebration. I had a pretty quiet weekend, really nothing going on. Now I think about it, just did some work, watched some football on Saturday and Sunday. Don't want to talk about college or pro football this year, quite different than last year for me. But pretty quiet weekend. Unfortunately, there was some sad news. The death of actor Matthew Perry. I know this has nothing to do with Charleston, but I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast were old enough to watch Friends when it was on, cable television, back on NBC. And a lot of people have also watched Friends through streaming channels. I know a lot of folks, from the pandemic and on, just like some other shows that have long since ended, people have been getting into and rewatching and things. You see that a lot with sitcoms. So I know the show, for its, faults here and there as we look back, of course, through the lens of 2023. Back to the mid 90s to the early 2000s. Yeah, not always the best, but, of course, had its moments and lots of memories for people. I remember I used to have friends come over my house in high school. We would watch Friends in my parents' basement, basically an excuse to get together, but we all really liked the show and continued to watch it in college with friends and things, especially the finale. I remember having a handful of friends in my college apartment that I shared with some friends of mine, and we had other friends come over. And so, a lot of memories from that show. As silly as entertainment can be, it means a lot. It plays, if it's music, it's like the soundtrack to your life. If it's television, if it's movies, these are things that you spent time on and spent time with actors and musicians and whoever else is in the public eye, even if you never actually met them. So I know a lot of people, myself included, were really bummed about that. He was, a comedic actor that I just loved on that show. And I think, like a lot of people, his character of Chandler Bing was probably their favorite. I think a lot of my friends, especially guys, I think we saw ourselves in that character. Oh, the sarcastic, funny guy, whether we actually were like him or just wished we were like him, in some respects. So it was, definitely sad to hear that. But so I just wanted to touch on it since, it was a show that I watched a lot and he was my favorite on it. And I was certainly sad to hear the news that he had passed away from an apparent drowning in his hot tub in LA. That's really the only details that are out right now, and whatever the reasoning behind it, very, very sad news. So just wanted to talk about it real quick. But now let's get into the show as normal, and we'll pick up with the latest news. The latest chapter in the Charleston County School District Board of Trustees drama has ended. It's certainly not going to be the end of this dysfunctional board's reign of terror, though. But the plight of Dr. Eric Gallion has come to a close. This poor gentleman who uprooted his life for a job he obviously applied for and wanted, but assumed he would probably have good faith, chances from the board and would be given a fair shake at running the school district. Well, as we all know, that never happened. And now he is officially out. The Charleston County School District Board of Trustees on Friday voted to accept a mutual settlement agreement that did, in fact, result in Dr. Gallien's decision to separate from employment with the Charleston County School District, effective immediately. Now, the vote was 8-0, which means all members of the board, of course, accepted his resignation. So after some back and forth where he submitted a resignation, then said, no, I don't want to. I don't know what happened. I haven't really seen any reporting. I haven't heard anything. But apparently he went back to, yeah, you know what? Let's just end this thing. And that's why he was supported even by the members who didn't want him to go. You know, hey, he wants to submit his resignation. We're not going to force him to stay here in a bad situation. But don't be confused by that vote. The Moms for Liberty backed candidates got their way and wasted so much time, their time, Dr. Gallien's time, the other members of the board, the community, the school district, the children who are not seeing any benefits from anything that this board is doing due to all these hiccups and dysfunction. Just a huge waste of time and money. Really, really embarrassing situation. And no one should be happy with how any of this has gone down. So with him out, Anita Huggins has been appointed acting superintendent, which is a role that she had been holding since Dr. Gallien was placed on paid administrative leave. That is also effective immediately. I guess technically, when they originally voted on this whole acting superintendent thing, they did so in a manner that was not by state law. So I guess that meant that decision wasn't actually something that officially went into place, but now it is. She had previously served as deputy superintendent and has been with the school district for 26 years. The board also received the report of the investigation into the superintendent's actions. That's the accusation that he had created a hostile work environment, which led to them opening an investigation. Again, as I've said previously, as they should, when there's those kind of accusations, it needs to be looked into, but ultimately led to him being put on paid administrative leave, which was the issue that a lot of people took exception with. So they finally got the investigation back. It was conducted by attorney Alan Holmes of Gibbs and Holmes law firm. The investigation was conducted, as I mentioned, at the board's discretion and direction after receiving that internal complaint from a district employee that had claimed Dr. Gallien's actions led to a hostile work environment. And surprise, surprise, the result of the investigation concluded he did not create a hostile work environment. Again, had to be looked into. As dubious as the claims may have been, needs to be looked into. And as the non-Moms for Liberty board members said, we welcome this investigation because we know it's going to come out with what everybody knows, which is this is just like some trumped up thing in an effort to get rid of Dr. Gallien. And it worked. This whole debacle and everything that preceded it, they got what they wanted. As part of this settlement deal, Dr. Gallien will be paid 1 year's salary totaling $275,000. This is according to a copy of the agreement that was provided to the Post and Courier, who then reported on it. The district will also pay him an additional $50,000 and reimburse him for any expenses he had through September 25th. The district will also pay Gallien $34,000 to cover his attorney fees. Nothing says everything was on the up and up, like paying someone a ton of money to go away, including their attorney fees. Like, please just go away and don't sue us. And that's part of the agreement, by the way, that Dr. Gallien has agreed to drop his lawsuit against the district as part of the settlement. So in total, that amounts to roughly $4,000 per week, or I'm sorry, per work day, not per week. That amounts to roughly $4,000 per work day that Gallien had been on the job. So they basically paid a superintendent what will, in the end, be well over $300,000 and about $4,000 per day worked. And he was here for what, 4 months, maybe? I don't even know if it hit the 4-month mark. What a waste of money. And more importantly, what a waste of this poor guy's time. He has a family. Again, he uprooted them to come here, works for 4 months, pretty much from the jump, faces pushback from the board, and gets caught up in all this dumb drama that the Moms for Liberty group has brought to not just this district, but many others. And they're also trying to get even higher offices, which we'll talk about in the next segment. So just a shameful and embarrassing display from this board of trustees. Although they did find that Dr. Gallion did not create a hostile work environment, Holmes found that he did intentionally fail to comply with what was called a clear published directive that was established by the school board. So this rule said that the superintendent could make no changes to the organizational chart of the central office without an explicit vote of the board. That directive was passed back in May and still remains into place. So that was the end result of this whole thing, was that Dr. Gallion did not comply with a directive. The hostile work environment stuff, nope, that did not happen according to the investigation. He was not responsible for that, but they did find he violated a directive, which in any normal circumstances may have resulted in some kind of minor punishment. I wouldn't think it would be grounds for, termination. But I mean, that's what it ultimately, I mean, I know you resigned, but so don't be confused and don't misinterpret the fact that the report found this failure to comply with a directive. That's not even what they were really looking into. It's something that came out in the investigation and really isn't that big of a deal, or at least it doesn't seem to be based on the way it was presented by the investigation. And so what really happened here is that they looked into something they should have. They found no credibility to this hostile work environment allegations. And then they accept his resignation because they've been putting him through hell since he got here, basically. I mean, again, just completely embarrassing and disgusting display. I keep saying by the board, but it's really by those 5 members. And if you found this whole thing embarrassing, which I would hope you did, whether you agree with some of the things Moms for Liberty claim that they're trying to do, although as we learn more and more, a lot of their claims just aren't really what they're actually doing. You can't think that this whole thing went smoothly or was done by the books. It simply wasn't. Violating state law, doing things in secret, not communicating appropriately with the public. I mean, it's just been a mess. So bad that 3 mayors had a press conference last week about it. The governor, when asked about it, said that they were not acting appropriately in some of their, some of the actions they've taken. And so did the attorney general. And again, as I pointed out, that's a mix of Democrats, Republicans, and across the ideological spectrum. Some, like McMaster and Alan Wilson, are very conservative Republicans. These are people that you would think would be on the side of Moms for Liberty, and they may be, again, based on the false claims of what they supposedly represent. But even they were like, hey, no, you're not doing things right. Like, when 2 sides of the political aisle are agreeing that a political group is doing something wrong, you did something wrong, because they can't agree on anything. Just disgusting. And it's not going to stop, not just at the school board, others around the state, the country, and it could get worse. And that's what we're going to talk about next. I've had several people reach out to me in different ways, DMs, messages, the public, messages on different platforms. I've had friends just ask in person or through text or whatever if I knew who Moms for Liberty was backing in other races, specifically some of these higher up races, not just school boards. They're going after city council, mayors. I mean, everything. This is not going to stop. They are going to try to push their candidates into these bigger roles now. They've gone from, we're taking over the schools because we don't like mask mandates or vaccine talk, and we don't like certain materials being taught in schools and all that nonsense. They're now setting their sights higher. And the Post and Courier thankfully was able to round up some of their upcoming or some of their recommendations for upcoming elections. I've tried to look. They shut their Facebook group and stuff is all private. They basically vet you to even let you in. So I knew there was no shot that I was getting in if they tied me to Holy City Center and how I've been very vocal against them. I had no shot of getting into their private Facebook group. And again, the fact that they have a private Facebook group shows that they have a lot to hide and they don't necessarily want people to know what's being discussed. Like the fact that when this whole drama with Dr. Gallion was going on, the local chapter president or whatever of Moms for Liberty was saying things that the rest of the community didn't know about the situation, which meant she was either lying and it wasn't true, or she had been in contact with those members of the board about what was going on. Why else would she know information that wasn't public knowledge? So it, again, just goes to show you how shady they are and everything that they're doing. So I've looked at websites. I've not been able to find any of these, endorsements, but Brian Hicks with the Post and Courier put out a piece where he does detail it. The link is in the show notes. I encourage you to go read the entire thing because it's an opinion piece. It's an editorial, but it's just about how they're looking at these other seats and how problematic that could turn out to be because they don't know how to govern or do anything appropriately. So I'm going to let you know who the Post and Courier says Moms for Liberty has recommended that their followers vote for. If you're like me, that means any of these names you're about to hear, run for the hills when you see them on the ballot. Do not vote for these folks. It sucks that some of these folks may not have asked for this endorsement or that they actually don't believe in the mission for Moms for Liberty. But barring them coming out and specifically saying that, and it could be a lie if they did anyway, sorry. I mean, if this group is aligning with you, whether you want them to or not, that's probably saying something about your candidacy. They like something, which means no one else should like it. So again, it sucks for these people if that's the case, but if Moms for Liberty has endorsed you in any way, that should be the death knell for your campaign, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people would agree. So these names are the ones to avoid. For Charleston City Council, Moms for Liberty has endorsed Jim McBride, Mike Gaston, and Ron Call. For Charleston Mayor, they have endorsed William Cogswell. For Mount Pleasant's Town Council, they have endorsed Perry Rourke, Sherry Seabuck, Jack Rambo, and Mark Flannery. Those names are the ones to avoid when you go vote if you are voting for any of those things. If you see any other endorsement by Moms for Liberty out there, please let me know so I can share, because a lot of people are asking, hey, who are they endorsing? Because I want to avoid those people. So let me know, email me, DM me, whatever it may be, and let me know where you see these endorsements. The Charleston Fire Department is facing some claims of hazing and harassment as one former Charleston firefighter says that he was hazed and harassed within the department, and it forced him to leave, not just because of that, but because part of that resulted in him suffering from partial permanent hearing loss. Again, according to him, but it does seem that the department verifies that claim, which I'll get to in a moment. Former Charleston firefighter George Belovis claims in a lawsuit that was filed on October 12th that the department's values of honor, commitment, community, integrity, and professionalism were not upheld during his tenure. Within the lawsuit, he claims that men in the department, specifically citing his experiences in Station 13, mocked him for his Greek heritage, made him perform extensive drills in full gear by himself, and forced him to be the only one to clean the bathrooms. He even cites one specific time he had to clean the restroom after one of the defendants urinated all over the floor. In addition, one of the main allegations was from an incident in October 2020 where the plaintiff experienced some sort of device exploding from underneath his bunk, which caused him to suffer from what he says is permanent partial hearing loss to the extent that he can no longer qualify to work as a firefighter ever again. Hazing and harassment, obviously, no place for it. It's childish, it's boorish, it's dumb, for lack of a better word on that last one. But when you pull some kind of prank or whatever you want to call it that results in permanent physical damage to someone, that's even more disgusting. And again, the city of Charleston seems to verify these claims happen because when asked about these claims, Charleston Fire Chief Dan Curria provided a statement that said, in part, that yes, he did report this injury to his ear and hearing after what was described as a firework went off under his bed. In addition to addressing the injury, the fire department immediately investigated and addressed the underlying conduct related to the alleged firework. Again, this is according to the Charleston Fire Chief. Apart from that incident, the city says they have no notice of the allegations in the lawsuit until his recent receipt of the complaint. So, long story short, the fire department, which through the city says, yep, he let us know about this incident. We addressed it. basically saying it's inappropriate without actually saying it's inappropriate. They should have. When they say that they address the conduct, I would assume that means there was some kind of punishment. Let's hope so. But say they don't, all the other allegations about hazing and harassment that I mentioned before, they say they had no knowledge of. They went on to say, there's proper channels he could have gone through. We wish he had done that. We could have addressed these things before it got to this, ultimate incident where he's losing his hearing. But his attorney and the firefighters, basically respond to that saying, no, we stand by everything. This is the route we're going, etc. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I mean, it certainly seems there's at least some sort of case based on the fact that the city and the fire department knew about the incident involving the explosive and admitted that it happened and that they addressed it. Will it be seen that they addressed it appropriately or not? Who knows? And then, of course, there's the rest of it. So I'll be sure to keep you updated on any updates. But, just a sad situation. Because, again, even if some of the other stuff isn't accurate for whatever reason, just that one incident alone is just a sad and unforgivable moment. Pulling a dumb prank that leads to someone being, permanently injured. And not just permanently injured, but in a way that they can no longer conduct the work that they were trying to do as a firefighter. Just really, as I said, childish and boorish behavior that ended up becoming extremely dangerous. A lot of bad news, as usual, but we've got some good news. So let's end on a high note here. The Charleston Battery, the local soccer team, for those who don't know, have earned a 2-1 victory over Birmingham Legion FC in the Eastern Conference Semifinal that was held at Patriots Point on Saturday. So yes, the Battery having an incredible season. They've made the playoffs. This is now their second victory in the USL Championship playoffs. So congrats to them. Just like our River Dogs, who have had, 3 straight championship seasons, hopefully the Battery can add another trophy to the Holy City's trophy case collectively. Now, even if they don't, it's been an incredible season and they should be proud, but they have a shot at this. They are very close. They will now host Louisville City FC in the Eastern Conference Final on Saturday, November 4th. That game will also be held at Patriots Point and will kick off at 7:30 p.m. Tickets for the match are now on sale via SeatGeek.com. Normally, I say stay away from sites that sometimes do third-party selling, but this is the exclusive partner for the Battery. This is where you get tickets for them. So instead of Ticketmaster or Live Nation, one of those bigger entities, SeatGeek is the one who handles it. So get those tickets, get there to Patriots Point on Saturday, November 4th. Cheer loud for the team. If you've never been, it's a fun environment, especially. They've done a great job with this new location in Mount Pleasant after moving from their home in Daniel Island a few years ago. And it's a lot of fun at these games, and the stakes are pretty high, which will make it even more thrilling. So good luck to the Battery. I'll keep you posted on their journey through the playoffs. That'll do it for this edition of Holy City Center Radio. Again, I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope this week coming up is even better for you. Have a fun and safe Halloween. If you want to help out a little bit, there's a few things you can do. Go and subscribe, rate, anything you can do on the platform you're currently listening to the show on. Go ahead and do that. Every interaction that people do helps raise the profile of the podcast and is a big help to me. I appreciate it. If you've done that and or want to just go that extra step, you can also support the podcast, the website, and everything else I do with Holy City Center in a couple of ways. You can pick up some merchandise at holycitycenter.com/shop, or you can go to patreon.com/holycitycenter, where you can sign up for one of those support tiers. It's as little as $2 a month. There is no contract. You can do it for just a month if you want to. Every little bit helps, so I appreciate it. I also appreciate and need to thank Lindsay Marie Collins with LMC Sound System, who produces each and every episode of this podcast, and Tyler Boone, whose music you hear in each and every show as well. I will speak to you all again on Wednesday, but until then, good night and good luck.